2, get it a lot. So I'm Isa, but don't worry, I'll get to introduce myself even more later on. Okay, but just to ensure that we are all on the same plane, because if you've ever been in any one of my sessions, you'd know something about me, and that is the fact that I always love to communicate. Each and every one of my sessions, something is very, very pivotal, and that is communication. Now, how do we communicate? Is it that, oh, I'm going to be speaking, you're going to be speaking, and every single person is going to be speaking? Not really. The way we communicate is by using the other media which we have available. I'm referring to the reactions, I'm referring to the comments. So using the chat boxes as well. So if you have questions, be sure to send them in. If you have feedback, be sure to send them in. It's very, very important that we communicate so we can have a fantastic session. Okay, so just to test if we're ready to go, to know if we're all on the same plane, if you're ready to communicate, I want you to give me a thumbs up if you know you're ready to dive into the session, you're ready to learn about Power BI. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you, Abraham. Okay, thank you, Chiamaka. Fantastic. Thank you, Vitri. Great. Asmita, thank you. Okay, all right then. So it seems we're all together. We are ready to get into it. Okay, so we're gonna have an amazing time. That I can guarantee. That I can guarantee. So sit back, relax. But when I say relax, I don't mean don't do, because you're going to practice alone, right? So sit back, relax, and get ready to work. So for most of us on the call, the perfect scenario would be for every single one of us on the call, I believe that you should have already downloaded Power BI, that you have Power BI installed, and that you have Power BI installed, number one, and of course that you also have the data set downloaded as well. Okay, so I want to believe that that's the case, that you have Power BI installed and you also have access to the data set. Since that's the case, let's get into it. So free Power BI training day 1, because we're going to have this is a two-part series. And today we're going to get into the very, very first part. In case if this is the first time you're joining a session like this, maybe this is the first time you're joining a session with Analytics, you might be wondering, who are we, what do we do, all of that. So Analytics, we're an EdTech company, and we are focused on helping you achieve your dreams. So for every single one of us on this call, I believe there's something that we've been looking to accomplish. There's something we've been looking to do. For many of us, we've been wanting to transition. For many of us, we've been wanting to upskill. For many of us, we've been looking at, oh, you see, this is my current career path. What I'm doing at the moment, it's not something I really want to continue doing, in the long run. And I would like to transition. Maybe some of us, your current paths, you just want to do something else. You want to do something better. You want to do something where you can, you are making good money, and you're also not being overworked. You're not running from one shift to another shift, working 3 shifts, 4 shifts per day, and then you want to move into tech. That is what we are here to help you accomplish. And we've been able to help over 4,000 professionals, 4,000 professionals that we've been able to help transition into landing a job in tech. That is 4,000 professionals that we've made their dreams come true. And for those of you on the call as well, I believe that you guys will still be a part of this number, because that's what we're in the business of doing. And of course, we have a large team that is in charge of making these dreams come true for each and every one of our participants. Over 182 full-time employees at the moment, over 200 plus industry experts that also get to collaborate with Analytics in bringing each and every one of you premium value. And we do this in various programs, from data analytics to health tech to business analysis, data engineering, data science, financial analytics, agile project management, and a couple of others. So that is what we do. And of course, you can check us out on our various social media platforms. That's enough about that. How about me? So I'm Aisha Sagmalaho, and I'm an operations leader with over 5 years of experience in different tech spaces, from data analytics to business analysis, engineering, and also in consulting as well. So I've been able to work across several companies, across several locations, from Singapore and Australia as well, to the US, Canada too. Having worked as a growth consultant with Blue Hybrid in the UK, and also a senior IT consultant with Bed Dog Hospitality in South Dakota in the US. And I also partnered with Carla Palmer in setting up what we refer to as the Canadian Women in Sport. So if you're in Canada, maybe you can check that out, Canadian Women in Sport. Okay, so yeah, and I've been able to train over 3,500 professionals across several areas. And yeah, that's about me. I'm also a very good chess player as well. Yeah, I love to play chess. Okay, so moving into the main thing, we are going to approach the session today using a case study. Okay, we're going to approach the session today using a case study. And this case study that we're going to be working with is a case study that each and every one of you on the call, each and every one of us on the call can relate to. Because the main thing that the session today is meant for is what? Implementation. Don't forget that. What we are trying to do, what we want to accomplish is implementation. That is, whatever you've learned or whatever you are going to learn today, that as it's Monday, when it's the start of a new work week, you're already implementing in your current day-to-day activities, and you're already on the path to promotion. Sounds fictitious, right? But trust me, it's not. At the end of this session, I have a very, very big announcement, a very big surprise for you. So ensure you stay to the end because I have a very, very big announcement that I'm going to be making. I don't think I've done this in a while, but I just thought, okay, since I'll be speaking to some people today, why don't I bring this back? And of course, we've had so many people that have benefited from this initiative, which I'll be telling you guys at the end of the session. Okay, so Sarah's career change from support worker to health data analyst. We're going to be looking at a fantastic professional, one named Sarah. And what's the deal with Sarah? So Sarah has a background, and let's look at the background. Sarah is a dedicated healthcare support worker, and she works at an assisted living facility. Okay, so Sarah works at an assisted living facility. Now, over the past several months, care home has managed over 1,000 patient treatments that's covering several health areas from diabetes to hypertension, depression, infections. A lot of this is a situation that many of us can relate to, because for many of us on the call, maybe we're working on, I believe you guys can hear me clearly, right? If you can hear me clearly, please give me a thumbs up if I'm audible and clear. Okay, fantastic, great. So for many of us right now on the call, we are Sarah, right? Because we as working as support workers, or maybe you're working in the warehouse, or maybe you're working in the kitchen, wherever you're working, and you so you have data. You've been collecting data. In the case of Sarah, she has been collecting data from each and every one of our patients, and she has been tracking how much better the patients feel. And putting all of this into the facilities system. Let me explain. Let me give a proper breakdown in case you're getting confused. So who is Sarah? Sarah is a healthcare support worker, and she works at a facility that handles over 1,000 patient treatments. And she has been meticulously logging patients' details. For example, when they take their drugs, what the side effects they have from certain drugs, all of those things, and their improvements. When they're on certain medication that they're improving, all of those things. Sarah has been meticulously jotting them down, taking note of those things. And one thing came up. There is a problem. Sarah is experiencing a problem now. And what is that problem? The problem is Sarah is very fantastic at her job, right? And so she has noticed on her shift, when she's on a shift, maybe on the first shift, second shift, when she's on shift, she noticed that there are certain patients that seem to experience a lot of nausea and tiredness. Okay, I repeat. Sarah has noticed when she's on shift that certain patients seem to experience a lot of nausea and tiredness. And you also have others that are thriving. So you have some patients that are doing well, and you have some that are not doing well. And these patients are usually placed on the same medication. And she wants to bring this insight to a supervisor. Many of you, speak with the supervisor. So she wants to bring this insight to a supervisor, but she knows that there's a problem. She knows that if she goes ahead to present our data, because she has all of this data in a sheet, that a supervisor would not go through all of that, because the supervisor doesn't really have the time to do that, right? And so What does she want to do? She wants to find the way to present that information in a way that would capture the supervisor's attention to notice that, oh, so maybe we're having an issue here, or maybe we're not having an issue. That's regarding the various patients, their experiences, their treatment, those having side effects, and all of that. So she wants to ensure that our valuable frontline observations will not be ignored. That is what she wants to do. And so how does she want to do this? Before we look at how she wants to do it, we have to understand one thing first, and that is you are Sarah. For many of us right now, this is where we find ourselves. This is a situation we find ourselves. So you have to remember that you are Sarah. And you as Sarah, you are about to transform your career. So what do you want to do as Sarah? There are 4 things you want to do. The very first thing is the big picture. You want to be able to see exactly how many patients you are monitoring and the overall average recovery score. You want to be able to present these to your supervisor. And number 2 is highlighting major complaints. You want to be able to show to your supervisor, you want to demonstrate that nausea is a significant issue. Now, you don't just want to go out there and say, oh, hello, supervisor, I noticed that nausea is a significant issue. No, you want to prove it. You want to show this information with data. That's number 2. And number 3, you want to also showcase treatment successes. You want to be able to show that while we have some people that are not doing well with certain medications, but there are also others that are doing very, very well with those same medications. So I can see that. Can we please all mute so we don't interrupt the session? Okay. So she also wants to be able to show that, right? She wants to be able to show that, sure, we're having some patients that are having side effects from certain medications, and there's some others that actually have massive improvements. So she wants to prove that medications are delivering, or in this case, you want to prove which medications are delivering the highest patient satisfaction. And number 4 is that you also want to utilize interactive insights. So you want to be able to click on hypertension filter during your meeting, and you're instantly showing that dizziness is the leading side effect for blood pressure patients. Patients that have high blood pressure, the major side effects that they experience after taking certain medications is dizziness. This is what you want to show to your supervisor. You're not just going to provide a sheet. No, you want to show this insight. You want to show this. You want to show this insight. You want to show this information using data. And this is what you're going to be building. This is what you're going to be presenting to your supervisor. You're going to be presenting a dashboard that can show each and every one of these metrics. So this is the start of Sarah's journey, where Sarah was then converted from being, a support worker to now becoming a healthcare data analyst. Because after Sarah presented this, the supervisor noted that, wow, this is pretty fantastic. I didn't know you have the skills. You know what? How about we do this? How about I put you in charge of collating all of the data from the various patients and begin to analyze the data from all of the various patients across all of the various support workers within this assisted living facility. So Sarah was then placed in charge of the data department in that organization. That was Sarah's first step to success. And that's what you're going to be achieving as well. But first and first, you have to learn how to build this, because for many of us, like I said, it's all about implementation. I'm going to show you how you can take something like this and deliver this week. When I say this week, I mean next week, because today is a Saturday. Yeah. You get what I mean. Okay. And how are we going to do this? We're going to be using Power BI. Okay. So we are going to be going to Power BI. So I'm going to, so you should be able to see my Power BI screen now. So now we are on Power BI. And one thing that I would like to mention, okay? One thing that I would like to mention is the fact that, okay, one thing I'd like to mention is the fact that you absolutely must have already downloaded your data set. Okay, there's a data set called the Real Drug data set, and that data set is what we are going to be using in building that dashboard. The dashboard that's showing the information about the various patient. If you don't have access to that data set, I think you should check your email. I'm sure the team must have sent you an email previously that contained information how you can download Power BI, and also how you can download Power BI, and also how you can download the data set as well. Now, when working with, oh, fantastic. So the link has also been sent to the chat box. Now, when working with data, when working with Power BI, the very first thing that you have to know, the very first thing you have to understand is something called ETL. Now, what is ETL? ETL is extract, transform, and load. Extract, transform, and load. By extracting, it means that you're connecting the data, or you're getting the data from wherever it is, and you're sending it into Power BI. And then by transforming, it means that, oh, maybe the data is dirty, or maybe there's something about the data you don't really like, or maybe there's something about the data you want to add in. So you get to do that by transforming the data. And then loading the data is when you've transformed the data looks great. Now you can begin working on it. I repeat, E, extract, T, transform, for when you want to add or remove things from the data set. That's what T is for. And then L, which is load, is for when you want to load your data set into Power BI. That being said, now that we want to work on our dashboard, the first thing we have to do is E. And what does E stand for? Does anyone remember? What does E stand for? What does E stand for? What does it mean? Are we not going to communicate? Remember, I talked about communication, that everyone has to communicate, right? Or we could just end the session right now, okay? And we'll go do something else with the time. Thank you very much, Lawan. Thank you, Mokhtar. Thank you, Derese. Olamide. Okay, Jasmine. Great. Temitope, thank you very much. Extract. So the very first thing we have to do is to extract our data. And how do we extract our data? We extract our data by coming over to where you can see get data. Now on Power BI at the top, in where you have your own ribbon, you're going to see something called get data. Now we're going to select get data. Okay, we select get data. A moment, I think need to share. Give me a moment. I think I need to share my entire screen so you get to see. Okay, great. So the very first thing that we're going to do is that we're going to go ahead and we're going to extract our data. And how do we extract our data? By clicking on this get data. At the top, you're going to see get data. There's something called get data. So you can either click on get data itself, or you can click on this drop down. Any of them works. So for me, I'm going with the drop down. Now by selecting the drop down, I have various data sources. I have Excel workbook, Power BI, data flows, all of that. I'm going to go ahead and select Excel workbook. So I'll select what? Excel workbook. Why am I selecting Excel workbook? Because my data source is an Excel file. I'm working with an Excel file, so I'm going to go ahead and select Excel workbook. So now I've selected Excel workbook. The next thing I'll do is to click on browse. Now, by clicking on browse, it's going to take me to my file explorer. On my file explorer, I get to select the file I downloaded. So if you've not downloaded the file, you're not going to see it. So you have to ensure you download it. And then when you click on browse, that file should be on your downloads. So I'll click on browse and I have my file explorer pop up. So I'm going to select the data set. Okay, so I'll try to be as slow as possible so you can all follow, because I want you to practice alongside. But don't worry, this session is recorded as well. So you're also going to get access to the session recording as long as you fill the attendance form, which my colleague would send to the chat box. So now that I've selected my data set, the next thing I'm going to do is click on next. I click on next. and this pops up. Remember, just like Akinola has sent to the chat box as extract, transform, and load, the next thing we're supposed to do is we're supposed to what? We're supposed to extract. So we're supposed to transform. That's the next thing we're supposed to do. We're supposed to what? We're supposed to transform. Now, in terms of transforming, the way you do that is we're going to come over here and you see the data sets that you extracted. So we can select the data set, can click on it. You click on the data set, and so you click on it. You're going to see a checkbox by the left. Okay, you'd see a checkbox by the left. So you want to click on that checkbox and ensure it is selected. You want to click on that checkbox and ensure it is selected. Now that it's selected, at the bottom right, where you see load, for some of you, depending on the Power BI version you're using, if you're using an older version, you're going to see transform in here directly. Transform is the first thing you're going to see. But if you're using a more recent version like mine, you're going to click on this drop down and then you see transform data. But we are not going to transform our data. We'll do that in another session. Okay, so the only time you transform your data is when your data, maybe like I said, you either want to add something to your data set or you want to take off something from a data set. You want to clean it up, you want to make it look somehow. It's in the name, transform. Transform means you're changing something from what it used to look like to something else entirely. That's transform. So right now, we do not want to transform our data sets. You don't always have to transform your data sets. If your data set looks good, the structure looks good, then you don't need to transform. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to load directly into Power BI. Okay, we're going to load it directly into Power BI. So we're going to select load. We select load and then wait for the magic to happen. Okay, so we wait for the magic to happen. Sorry about that. I think I stopped sharing or something. Okay, so I think we have an error. So it says one of the loaded queries contained errors. So I'm just going to click on view error and let's see what the problem might be. Okay, so if after clicking on load, if it's loaded directly, that's fine, you're good to go. If not, if you saw view errors, you can click on view errors like me, and it's going to bring you over to Power Query. So let's see what the problem might be. Okay, so the problem is coming from this age group. So the reason why we have an error is because if you check out the data set from maybe before you downloaded the data set or after downloading the data set, you opened it up, okay? You'd have seen that there's a column called age group that contains numbers and it also contains like 50 plus, those kind of things. So Power Query, or in this case, Power BI, is kind of mixing things up, doesn't know if it's a text, doesn't know if it's a number. So we're going to come over to age group where you see you have 1, 2, 3 by the side, where you see you have 1, 2, 3. So we click on that and we're going to select text. Okay, so we select text and we should be good to go. A minute. So we just see what the problem is. So that should have what? Okay, I think we are on the right track here. Select text over here. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and we're going to simply take off this column. Okay, so if we have more time later on, we're going to check out what's wrong with the column. But like I said, this column contains a mixture of text and numbers, hence the reason why we're currently getting an error. Okay, so there's another way that we can go about this. We can go about actually classifying the data ourselves, and I think we should do that instead of ignoring the column. Let's go ahead and classify the data ourselves. Stay with me. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to click on this column, the age group column, age group, the age group column, and someone's asking, can't we find and replace or classify? We can do that, although we have like several kinds of text and numbers, and that might be a bit difficult. So we're going to classify instead, Lawan. We're going to use the conditional tab. Okay, so I'm going to take this off. So I'm going to select remove. All right, so simply select remove. Just right click on that column and then you select remove. Just right click on that age group, that's the age group column that's giving us the error, and then you select remove. So once you've done that, we are now going to reclassify the age group. We're going to reclassify the age group column. And to do that, we'll come over to we're going to come over to the add columns ribbon. At the top of my screen, or at the top of your screen, you should be able to see this. You're going to see something called add column. So select add column, and you're going to see an option called conditional column. Let me explain what's happening here. We had an error with our age group column, okay, because PowerBI was not able to tell if it's a text or if it's a text or if it's a number. So we deleted that and want to recreate that column. Now I'm going to select conditional column. Conditional column. So we want to categorize the age column. This age column, you see on our age column, we have things like 36, 69, 40. We have various ages. So we want to categorize that column into, say, maybe between 10 to 30, 10 to 30, or 30 to 40, because that would make it a whole lot easier for us when we are going ahead with our analysis. So we want to categorize the age column into various brackets, just like the way you have Gen Zs, millennials, boomers. That's what we are trying to do. Okay, so don't get confused. So over here, we are being asked for the new column name. We are being asked for what? For the new column name. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll type in age group. I'll type in what? Age group. Age group. So type in age group, or you can use any name of your choice, but I feel age group would be perfect. After typing in age group, where I have my column name, I have if column name. So I'm going to click on this drop down and I'm going to select age. Okay, I'll click on the drop down and I'll select age. I'll say if the age is greater than, so I'm going to use greater than. If the age is greater than, if it's greater than, so we could say if it's greater than 18, okay, oh sorry, let's make this less than. If the age is less than 18, we can use an output. We can say maybe, and we're just going to use text now. We could say, we call these guys Gen Z. It might be wrong. I think those those below 18 should probably be Gen Alpha or something, but we're just going to use the popular ones. So we say Gen Z. So if it's below 18, we say Gen Z, and then we add another clause, and then we'd say if the age, okay, if the age is greater than, sorry, if the age is less than, If the age is less than 30, then what do we want? We could say these guys should be the millennials. And then we add in one more category. One more category. Where we would say, else, I'm lost. I didn't see how you removed the table. Okay, so to remove the column, right click on the column header. Okay, right click on the column header and select. Right click on the column header and select remove. All right, right click on this column header and select remove. I just wait for 10 to 15 seconds for for you to do that. Fantastic. Now that you've done that, go over to add column. You're going to see add column at the top. My mouse is currently on it. So click on add column. Click on add column and then select conditional column. Select conditional column and then this is going to pop up. So just write in the same things I currently have on my screen. So what we have right now, it says that if the age is less than 18, Gen Z, if the age is less than 30, so if the age is greater than 18, all right, what is less than 30, millennials, and if the age is greater than 30 and on and on and on and on, we could categorize these guys as boomers. So Britain is asking, if the error was fixed, should we still use this method of creating a new column? It depends, Brittany. It depends on the kind of error you're getting. If the error was fixed for you, okay, no, you don't need to do this. You don't need to do this. The reason I'm doing this is because it wasn't fixed for me. But for many of you, I'm sure that it was fixed. You don't need to do this. Okay, we're just trying to recreate that particular column. But I think this is also a good learning point for you. You can always learn from this and do something amazing later on. So we have, if the age is less than 18, Gen Z, if it's less than 30, millennials. Something that I feel we should do, instead of making this 18, we'll make this 30. And instead of this being 30, we'll make this 50. I think that will give us a better balance, because in this data set, I don't think we have lots of ages less than 18. So having done this, the next thing is to click on OK. And you can see the new column has been created. So in this column, we can now see those that are boomers. We can see those that are millennials. We can see those that are Gen Z. You can see that this age is 56, and this particular patient was categorized as a boomer. You can see this age is 69, categorized as a boomer, and so on and so forth. Easy categorization. Easy categorization. Having done this, remember, I'll try to be as slow as possible, but I still want us to be within time. Okay, so having done this, the next thing you can, and at the end of the session, I'll stay back and I'll take as many questions as possible. Okay, so for those of you that might have questions, maybe you're having errors, I'll take as many questions as I possibly can. So having done this, I'm going to now go ahead and go back to my home tab. I'll go back to my home tab and I'm going to click on close and apply. Close and apply. Close and apply. So clicking on close and apply, now my data has been loaded. And how do I know it has been loaded? It has been loaded. If I check out the data panel by the right, I'm going to see a view drop data set. And if I click on the drop down, I can see all of the columns for my data, for my table. And I can also view my table from this table section, where I can see all of the information, all of the data I just loaded, transformed. I just loaded into my PowerBI. I can see every single thing. Yeah. So now that we've been able to do this, now we can go into creating a dashboard. Now we can go into building our reports. For building our reports, I'm going to focus more on the visuals and how we can get the visuals, up to date. When it comes to styling and formatting, I might just, run through that quickly so we don't waste so much time. But in terms of the actual building of the visuals, getting your reports, create your analysis, I'm going to take that one step at a time. In building our reports, the first thing I like to do, the first thing I like to do is I love to always have what I call a I love to always have what I call a canvas. This is your canvas, but I love to give my canvas a background color. Okay, I love to give my canvas a background color, and the way you do that, it's a step-by-step process. So I want you guys to follow closely. It could be confusing sometimes on Power BI. So the way you do that is that we're going to come over to where you have formats. Now, depending on your Power BI version, it might not look exactly the way it looks on my screen. For some of you, you might have a format panel. You might have a panel called format at the top. For some of you, you might have to come over to this point, just like me, and click on format, then you see this. If you cannot see this format where you have page information, canvas settings, all you have to do, come over to build, and you're going to see something like a brush. You're going to see something like a brush over here. Click on that brush and you'll see the settings. Click on that brush and you'll be able to see these settings. So first and first, I'm going to go ahead and change the background color of my canvas. And I'll do that by coming over to the canvas background, and I have the color, and I can select any color from the palette. If you want maybe more colors, maybe you're not really interested in all of these colors provided, you can click on more colors and just paste the color of your choice in here. That works as well. After doing that, you have to take down transparency down to 0% for you to see your color for it to be visible. Okay, you have to make it opaque. Earlier, the canvas was transparent, so we have to reduce the transparency down to 0%. This just so you can select any color of your choice. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to use the same color choice as mine. But if you want to, that's fine as well. So this is the color code I just used for the background. Now, the very first thing that we want to do is that we want to create, I repeat, the very first thing we want to do is that we want to create a visual that can show us the most popular or the reoccurring side effects in patients. We want to see the side effects that patients are always having. Which of the side effects? Is it maybe nausea? Is it headaches? Is it dizziness? Which are the most reoccurring side effects? And to do that, we are going to be using the column chart. We are going to be using the column chart to do this. So I would select my column chart. My column chart for me is the second visual. It's called the stacked column chart. So I'm going to select that column chart and I'll bring it over here. So I have my column chart. Having my column chart, I still need to populate it. I need to populate this visual with the columns, the information or the data I'm trying to analyze. In this case, we want to see the most reoccurring side effects. We want to see the side effects that are always showing up over and over and over again. These side effects are like, the Terminator or something, okay? They're always showing up. And so what are we going to do? First thing first, we'd ensure that our visual is selected. Okay, we'd ensure our visual is selected just like it is right now. And then we're going to come over to the data panel. Now in the data panel, I have my side effects. And I'm going to drag side effects down to the x-axis. I drag side effects down to the x-axis. And then for the y-axis, I'm going to drag my patient ID, because I want to count the number of patients having several side effects, because that shows the side effects that are always reoccurring. Okay, so I can just expand this, and I can already see that the side effects are always reoccurring. I have nausea at 167. So we have 167 patients suffering from nausea, and then we have dizziness, 98, and so on and so forth. First visual completed. Very, very easy, straight to the point. Now you might be wondering, why did side effects go to the x-axis? Why didn't it go to the y-axis and vice versa? The reason, it's because if you're familiar with graphs, or you're familiar with graphs in general, you know that the column chart, what goes to the x-axis most times is what you are categorizing. The category goes to the x-axis, and the basis for the categorization goes to the y-axis. That's why in charts you always see numbers. You see numbers by the left, or you see numbers by the left, and you see text at the bottom, because the numbers will show us how high or how low something is. Okay, so that is our count of patients, the side effects. So that's for this visual. Now, for the next visual, you can see very, very easy, very simple. It's not rocket science. Okay, it's not rocket science. Our first visual is down and dusted. So what did I add? I added the side effects. So look over here, ambush. So if you check this out, you're going to see that for my x-axis, I moved side effects to the x-axis, and then for the y-axis, I moved patient ID. So patient ID to the y-axis and side effect to the x-axis, and you're going to get exactly this. The next thing that we want to check out is that we want to see, okay, we want to see the average improvement score by age group. We want to see the age range that always improve. Like these guys are always they're always, the rate of improvement whenever they're on medication is very, very high. We want to see the age group that responds to medications the best. In this case, we could also use the column charts. Maybe you're wondering, oh, I should say, how do we know the charts to use? Okay, we could also use the column visual for this. But just for us to have variety and for you to get to experience various kinds of visuals, we are going to be using the scatter charts. We're going to be using scatter charts because I want you to have variety, to see what various charts look like. So we're going to be using the scatter charts. Now, before I select the scatter charts, there's something I absolutely must do. I must ensure that I click outside of my visual. Okay, I must ensure that I click outside of my visual. So this is my visual, this white stuff, this column chart is my visual. So I'm going to click outside of it, deselect it. So now I can select my scatter chart. If you don't do that, you're going to have a situation like this, where your current visual is now being readjusted and it's being affected. So you don't want that. Okay, you don't want that. So you can click outside of the visual. You can click outside of the visual, and then you can select the scatter chart. Okay, you can select the scatter chart. So now that I've clicked on it, it has appeared on my visual again. Now, what is the next thing I'm going to do? Remember, I want to see the age group that responds the best to medications. To do that, I have on my scatter chart, I have values, I have x-axis, I have various kinds of fields. The fields I'm going to be working with, I have my x-axis and my y-axis. So for my x-axis, I'm going to drag my for my x-axis. What's going to go to my x-axis is the age group. So I'm going to move age group to my x-axis. The scatter chart follows a similar logic to your column charts. Okay, so where the categories goes to the x-axis, the values go to the y-axis. It follows a similar pattern, unlike the bar chart that is opposite. But we'll get there. So my age group goes to the x-axis, and then For my y-axis, I'm going to move my, remember, I want to see the age group that responds the most to certain medications. So for my y-axis, I'm going to be moving improvement score. Improvement score represents the rate at which that particular patient improved after being placed on a certain medication. So I'm going to drag improvement score to y-axis. I bring that over to my y-axis, and then I have exactly this. I have this. What can I see right now? I can see that the boomers, okay, I can see that the boomers respond the most to medication. But this is wrong. This is wrong information. Why is it wrong, you might wonder? Whenever you're carrying out analysis as a data analyst, as a healthcare data analyst, you have to understand the metrics you are looking out for. You have to ensure that the information you are getting is being calculated the right way. What do I mean? At the moment, we can see the sum of improvement score by age group. We are not interested in the sum of improvement score. That's going to give us a flawed value, because sum of improvement score means that we are adding all of the various improvement scores. So let's say we have 50 boomers, and each boomer has an improvement score of 1, for instance, and then that's going to give me 50 improvement score. That's wrong. It's correct when you sum, but in what we're trying to do, it's wrong. I will explain why. It gives us 50 improvement score, and let's say we have two Gen Zs, and those two Gen Zs, they have an improvement score of 6 each. Technically, without analyzing, if I ask you which age group actually responds the most to medication, to certain treatments, you would agree with me that it's actually going to be that it's the Gen Zs, because you have two Gen Zs with an improvement rate of 6, and you have millennials or boomers with just an improvement rate of 1. But when I'm using sum, 6 plus 6 will give me 12. And because I have 50 boomers in the health facility, I'm going to be getting 50 as against 12, which is not giving me the right answer. So what I want to do instead is that I want to check for the average improvement score per age group. That way, the average improvement score of the boomers, remember, 111 in 50 places, that's going to give me 1. And then the average improvement score for the Gen Zs will be 6. So that actually shows me that the Gen Zs have a better improvement score, which is what is the reality. So you always have to be very, very cautious of that fact. So what are we going to do now? That means we have to convert this sum of improvement score to average improvement score, so we can actually tell the improvement rate of the various age groups. So to do that, I'm going to come over to my y-axis where I have sum of improvement score, and I'll click on the drop down by the side. I'll see a drop down by the side, and I'm going to see sum. So I'll select sum, and then I will see average. I'll see an option called average. Okay, I'll see what? Average. So I'll go ahead and select average. And now I have this. So what we can see now is that, so let's see, was there a change from what we had earlier? Let's see. Okay, there was a change. So earlier we had like the boomers at improvement rate of 3,570. Now, when we actually make this, take this to an average, we can see the millennials are actually now at the top and no longer the boomers. So the millennials do, perform better than the boomers based on what we are seeing right now. So Gen Z is not really do so well. They are currently at the least with an average improvement score of 6.86. Boomers with 6.99, and the millennials with 7.15. And I say maybe this makes sense. I think this makes sense. This is accurate data, because usually when you have young people sometimes when they're sick or something, the body might not be developed enough. I'm not a medical professional, so pardon me. Okay, but based off this, I think it makes sense that you have the millennials actually responding better to certain treatments because their bodies are more developed. Say maybe their lungs, their organs, their systems are more developed to recover from certain illnesses than you having the young people or the older group of individuals. Are we still together? Are we still together? Give me a thumbs up if you know you're still with me. Okay, don't forget, okay, the session is fully recorded, so you're going to get access to this. Thank you, Caleb. Thank you, Justin. Fantastic. I'm glad we're having fun. So that's it. So always remember, check out your analysis. Know what's going on. Don't just populate your data and go to bed. No, ensure that your analysis is accurate. So now we have average improvement score by age group. So now we are able to tell the age that recovers the most. Okay, so Olamide is asking a question. I know some of us have questions. So Chisom, I can see you have a question. Don't worry, I'm going to respond to all these questions at the end of the session. Okay. So Olamide, if you want to change the sum, just come over to your y-axis. Come to y-axis, click on the drop down where you have sum of improvement score, and you're going to see sum here, and then you can change that to average. Okay, so go to y-axis and you should be able to sort that out. So moving on, the next thing we want to look at, we also want to check out the how can I change my age group to age group? Oh, so age group should not be sum of age group. If you are seeing sum of age group, it means your age group is in x-axis. So click on X and take your age group to so it means your age group is on the y-axis. So click on the X and take your age group to the x-axis. Age group should go to x-axis and improvement score should go to y-axis. Okay, not vice versa. So the next thing we want to do, age group is showing numbers. That's fine. If age group is showing numbers for you, what you're probably seeing is you're seeing less than 30, 30 to 50, and 50 and above. Remember that I encountered an error when I was loading my data, and so I had to change my category. But for you guys, if you didn't encounter that error, it's fine. Your data is still correct. You're just using the original format. So for you, what you're seeing is less than 30. And then, of course, Gen Z is going to be 30 to 50, which is, 30, that's Gen Z. 30 to 50, which is your millennials, and then 50 and above, which is your boomers. Okay, so you're still on the right track. You don't need to worry. Now, the next thing we want to do is that we want to be able to see, say, let's look at the gender distribution, okay? Because we also want to see, do certain medications have maybe certain impact on certain genders, maybe, due to differing physiology of the various sexes when it comes to biology, right? So maybe certain medications affect others differently than it affects others. So we also want to take a look at that. We want to check out the gender distribution. So how are we going to go about that? This time, I want us to use a donut chart. A donut chart or a pie chart is best used when you're trying to categorize items where the categories are not more than 4. When I say more than 4, I mean, in this case, in more than 4, maybe you're having, let's say, maybe you're having these side effects, for instance. Your donut chart it's going to have maybe 50 categories or whatever the case may be, and that is not going to look good. So you always want to use the donut chart or the pie chart when you're just comparing 2 things, comparing 3 things, comparing 4 things, and that's it. So I would use my donut chart in this case. This is my donut chart. It looks like a cycle, or rather, it is a cycle with a hole in the middle. So I will select my donut chart, and then what do I want to see on my donut chart? For my donut chart, I want to be able to see, I want to categorize the gender, right? So I'm going to move gender. Okay, I'm going to take gender to the legend because that's my category. So I'm going to take gender to the legend. And then for the values, I'm going to move my patient ID because the patient ID is literally the count of patients. So every patient has an ID. So I'm going to move the patient ID down to values. And now we can see the distribution of the genders within the assisted living facility. So we can see the males, we can see the females. So the male currently make up 52.3%, and then the females make up 47.7%. Easy. You're going to see how all of these visuals that we are creating, how it's going to come into play when we now introduce our slicer. You can see Power BI is not difficult. Data analytics is not difficult. It only takes something easy for you to be able to transition your career. Like I said, at the end of this session, I have a big gift for you guys. A very, very big gift. I haven't done this in a long, long while, and I have a massive gift for you guys. Okay, if you stay to the end of the session, I'll let you know what that is. So, what are we doing? Now that we have our donut chart set, nice, ready to go, we're going to come back and style all of this later, so our dashboard looks nice and sweet. But now we're going to move forward. Okay, the next thing I want to see is I want to check out the average dosage by condition. Average dosage, talking about the average and drugs, that's the dosage of the drugs. And in case if you're in the US, when I say drugs, I'm referring to medication. Okay, and if you're in the UK, when I say medication, I'm referring to drugs. Okay, so I'm not referring to add drugs, please. That's not what we are dealing. Yeah, I just thought to mention that. Anyways, that's my side. I mean, it's a bit funny. So, okay, so the next thing that we're gonna do is that now we want to see the average dosage per medication. We want to see the dosage per medication. Maybe there are some illnesses that require a certain level of drugs. I hope we don't have anyways that. But I hope I'm not going to be investigated later. Okay, and maybe I'll be called for questioning for what's going on here. So what we want to see is that we want to see the average dosage by condition. So we want to see if there are some conditions that require a certain, maybe a higher dose or a lower dose, because every condition, every illness is treated differently. For this, I'm going to be using I'm sorry, like I said, we're going to come back and we're going to start all of this. So for this now, I'm going to be using a bar chart. Okay, I'm going to be using a bar chart. So I'll bring this closer. So I'll need all of the space I can get later. So I'm going to be using a bar chart. Why am I using a bar chart? Could I not use a column chart for this? I could have. Although there are rules when it comes to using certain visuals, okay? And maybe in our next Power BI session next week, okay, I'll tell you about those rules. But right now, can I use a column chart for this? Yes, I could have. But like I said, I want to show you how various charts and visuals work. So for the bar chart is the opposite of the column chart. That means on the column chart, what you would have placed on the x-axis is what you're going to place on the y-axis for a bar chart, and vice versa. So I want to see the average dosage per condition. So I'm going to move my condition. The condition is going to come over to the y-axis because the condition is what I'm comparing. And what is the basis for that comparison? The basis of that comparison is the dosage. So I'm going to move dosage down to the x-axis. So I move dosage to x-axis. And now I can see the average dosage, or rather, I'm seeing the sum of dosage. I'm going to have to convert this to the average. If maybe what I wanted to check, what I was trying to analyze is I want to see the condition that has maybe the condition that has taken the most drugs, for instance. Okay, maybe from the facility, maybe want to take a look at our drug inventory or our medication inventory. I want to see which of these conditions are actually running us dry, in quotes. Then some would work, because with some, I can see that infections take the most drugs out of our inventory or whatever. So this is probably for a pharmacist or, when you're carrying natural analysis. But in this case, that's not what I'm interested in. What I'm interested in is I want to see the dosage each condition requires. So I'm going to change the sum of dosage. I'm going to change this to average as well. Okay. After making this average, you can see depression is now number one and no longer infection. So while a lot of people receive let's say receive or acquire or get infections, I don't know, we can see that the dosage for depression is higher. Okay, so it seems for someone that's depressed, they usually get the drugs of higher dosage than someone that's infected. So that's what we have right now. Very, very easy, straight to the point. You can see easy. It's not taking me 500 years to analyze. Now, what next do I need to do? I'm going to now insert. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert my there's something called the KPI, okay, card visuals. I don't know if you guys know what a KPI is. Do you know what a KPI is? A KPI, it's called key performance indicators. Exactly. Thank you very much, Lawan. It's called key performance indicators. Now, these are metrics that are quantifiable. So when you are building your reports, many times, maybe you absolutely want to, there are certain things you want your supervisor, in this case for Sarah now, the certain things that Sarah wants and supervisor to notice. As soon as the report is opened, as soon as the dashboard is opened, I want you to take a look at these numbers. That's what we are referring to. So there's a KPI visual on Power BI. There's a visual called KPI, but we're not going to use that because that visual requires some certain information which we currently do not have in our data. So instead, we're going to use a more simpler version, which is the card visual. So you're going to see a visual called card. It has 1, 2, 3 in it. Where can I find it now? Oh yeah, this is it. Yeah, that's it. So it's called a card. It has what you notice. It's a square with the numbers in it, 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to select the card visual, and then I have my card visual over here. So what would I like? What would I like my supervisor to see? In this case, I want the improvement score to be front and center. Okay, I want the improvement score to be front and center. What do I mean? I want my supervisor. I want the supervisor to be able to see if our patients are improving or not. So I'm going to come over to improvement score on that data. I have my improvement score, and I'm just move that to my values. Very easy, and I have my improvement score. At the moment, it's 7,000. Wrong. Remember, I already explained average and sum. All I want to do is average. So I'll change this to average as well. And now I can see that the average is 7.02. That's the average improvement score. So that means that in your in the facility, the patients you have, they actually do their improvement rate is above normal, or is above average, not above normal, above average. So maybe there's also a benchmark for improvement score in the industry. You can also use that in your comparison. So we can see that in this facility, patients are doing well as at a 7.02. I don't want to say percent because it's not percentage, but I'm sure you get the interpretation. So very, very easy. We're done with our KPIs. We are done with our KPIs. Easy, straight to the point, no fluff. Okay. If someone told you being a data analyst is difficult, tell the person it's a lie. Okay. So what's the next thing I'm going to do? I'm now going to go ahead. One more thing I want to add in. I want to add in my slicer. The slicer is what's now going to make my entire dashboard very, very interactive. Okay, it's going to make my dashboard sweet, nice, very interactive. So I'm going to come over here and I would insert my slicer. So I have my slicer visual. So that's it. I'll select my slicer visual, and then I'm just going to, I want to filter my dashboard based off, I was going to say filter my dashboard based off drugs. Okay, but yeah, I want to filter my dashboard based off various medications, various drugs. We have a global house on the call right now. So I explained earlier, when I say drugs, I'm referring to medications. And when I say medications, I'm referring to drugs. I'm not referring to hard drugs. Okay. So um, I want to I want to filter my dashboard based off the various kinds of drugs or the various kinds of medications. So I'm going to drag drugs. That's the drug name. I'm going to drag the drug name down to the field, and now I have a list. So let me show you how this works. I have various I have various drugs. I have amlodipine, amoxicillin, bupropion, ciprofloxacin, ibuprofen, losartan, paracetamol, tramadol, insulin. So let's say I want to see the performance of insulin. So I can click on insulin, and you can see the entire dashboard filters. And what can I see right now? I can see that, first of all, the improvement score for insulin is 7.21. And we can see that the patients, the conditions that take insulin are those affected with diabetes. And we can also see that the highest side effect for patients that take insulin glargine is low sugar. Low sugar, because insulin is there to reduce your sugar. And because diabetic patients, they have high sugar levels. And so it seems the situation we're having right now in this facility is we're having some patients that are diabetic, but the insulin, instead of taking their sugar levels to a normal, is taking their sugar levels to be below normal. What is that even called? Someone with low sugar, what's that called again? Okay, what's the scientific name for that? When someone has low sugar, what's it called? I know there's a name for it. No one knows. Okay, so we can see that that's the side effect. Okay, hypoglycemia. Thank you very much. Hypoglycemia. So that is what we are noticing. So we can see that, sure, the insulin is supposed to reduce your sugar levels, but we are now seeing that we have, how many patients are being affected by this? We have 27 patients. 27 patients that, sure, they're trying to reduce their sugar levels because they're diabetic, but now their sugar levels are now becoming dangerously low. Interesting, right? Interesting analysis. We also see weight gain. We've noticed that some patients that are using insulin are gaining weight. They're increasing in terms of size. They're increasing weight. And then we also have what? Injection site pain. Because with insulin, it's injected, and so they're feeling pains. You see, are you guys excited? Are you seeing are you already seeing what you can do with this at work? Just look at what we've been able to do. Without analysis, there's no way you would have gotten this data. And what can we see again? We can also see that when it comes to diabetes, we have Gen Z patients improving the most. We have Gen Z patients improving the most when it comes to diabetes. So young diabetic patients have a higher improvement rate than older diabetic patients. That's what we are seeing right now. Let's check out another. Let's say we want to check out amlodipine. Amlodipine is taken by patients with hypertension. Okay, hypertension. Hypertension, I believe that's high blood pressure, right? So that amlodipine is taken by patients with high blood pressure. And what is the side effect? We notice our patients are always tired. 29 patients that take amlodipine, they're tired. We have another 27 that are dizzy, and we have 18 that experience swelling. And when it comes to hypertension, we can see the highest improvement score with boomers. It's rare for people, for Gen Zs it's rare. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but it's rare for you to see someone that's a Gen Z, someone very young, experiencing hypertension. It's rare. So maybe that's also the reason why the improvement score is very low. That means the patients that we have that's experiencing hypertension that is young there's probably something about, maybe it's not just hypertension. Hypertension could be the resulting symptom. Maybe this person has maybe a poor heart, or maybe their arteries are not really pumping blood properly. Maybe that's something entirely different. And that hypertension is now a resulting symptom. And so, because this patient has an underlying condition where hypertension is now the symptom, their improvement rate is not so impressive because there's maybe if they're having a heart issue now, a heart issue, you're not really going to see much. It's more about managing the symptom, right? So you can see that the the data makes sense, the analysis makes sense, and the average improvement score 6.83, and we can see that we have more hypertensive males than females. And then if we check out say tramadol, for instance, last one, tramadol, we have pain relief. Tramadol is my pain relief, and we have 62%, a whooping 62% of men taking tramadol. So we have more males that's currently on this medication than females. And what can we see regarding side effects? We have nausea, we have constipation, and we have dizziness, with average improvement score of 6.88. Are we together? Are you guys excited? We're not done, okay? We are not done. We're just see. Today is the day your life will change for the better. Okay, you're gonna look back and you're gonna look at this session and you'll be like, this was the time everything began to make sense. Look, don't worry, like I said, I have a big surprise for you guys at the end of the session. So one more thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to go ahead and add a title to my report, because my report needs a title. So I'm gonna come over here and I'm going to insert a text box. And insert a text box, and this I'm gonna I'll make this say 40 patient outcome, and I'm gonna use may I say patient treatment and outcomes. Okay, so patient treatments and outcomes. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to speed run through this. I'm going to style my dashboard so my dashboard looks nice. Okay, so I'll speed run through it, and you can also try to style your dashboard, your reports alongside with me. If not, you can always go back to the recording and see how I'm going to style all of this. Okay, one thing I'm going to do first, I want to filter this to see only the top 10 drugs, the top 10 side effects, sorry, and not the entire thing. So to do that, I'm going to be using this filter panel. I'll come over to my filter panel, expand side effects. I'll turn basic filtering to top end, and I'll make this top 10. Top 10. And then for the value, I'll bring patient, I'll drag in patient ID there. I'll make this count and apply. So I have my top 10 side effects. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to style all of this. I'm going to style all of this so the dashboard looks better, because you don't just want to present this, right? You want to wow your supervisor. So I'm going to go ahead, and then first, I think I'm going to begin with my column chart. So I begin with my column chart, and I have setting styles, setting colors that I'm going to be working with. So I'll come over to format. Remember, I'm just going to speed run through this quickly. But I want to do this on the call so you also have access to it later. Okay, so later you can see how I went about this. So more colors. I'm just going to paste in this color. So that's what I want to use. You can use any color of your choice. That also works as well. Okay, and then for my columns, I'll come over to columns, and then I'm going to make this light, the same color as I had for my dashboard background. And then for the text, I'm going to use a special kind of orange color for the text. So first and first, I change the title. Okay, also rename this. I'd say reoccurring side effects. Reoccurring side effects. I'll come over to my x-axis. I'll just turn up this title. And I'll also turn off my grid lines. I'll turn on data label. So again, I'm just trying to style this, okay, to make this look nicer. It looks nicer. So then for the value, I'll make the value light so I can read what's in there. And then for my y-axis, I don't think I need these values anymore. So I'll turn on the title and the values now that I already have my labels. And then for the x-axis, you can see there are text here you can't read. So I'm going to change, and that's due to the contrast. So I'm going to make that lighter. So I'd use my nice orange. One more thing, I could make the borders. I'll turn on visual border, and I'll just make the borders rounded a bit. Okay, so not bad, not bad. So I made this rounded. Okay. Yeah. So the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna copy. I'll click on this text on this visual, and I will select format painter, and I'm just going to paste in here. Okay, just like magic. Okay, so I'll paste in there. I'll click on format painter again. Select this. I'll select this. I guess you can also select this as well. See, format painter. What happened to my text? Oh, my text got wiped off. I didn't know. Patience. Make this bold. So make this bold and select this. So patient, treatment, and outcomes. So I like the entire thing. Make this say 28, 32. That works as well. Okay, so I have a lot of the formatting almost done and dusted. Now I'm just going to rename my visuals. I'm going to rename my visuals, make them more, rename the visuals so the name actually reflects what's being shown on the table. That's on the visual. So I guess I could go. I don't think this is bad. So I have average of improvements score, but that's not bad. So for this, I'm just going to come over to the title. Now maybe I could say gender distribution. Okay, and then this would be average dosage by condition. Not terrible. That is not bad. So for my donut chart, so I need to style this. So I'll come over to slices, and then Under slices, I would open up apply settings too. I'll select say male. That's to change this bluish ink blue to make this light. And then for the other category, make this orange. Then for the legend, the text, would also make this light as well, so we can read what's in there. Then finally, for my slicer, I can make my slicer. I can change my slicer from a vertical list to a tile. If I want to, I can make it this way, for it to be a tile. And then I'd also format. I'll just paste in here. Or I could use a different approach. Okay, I could use a different kind of style for this. I'll come over to my visual, size and style, background. Make the background light for the values. Come over to background. I'll make this darker. And we are good to go. And lastly, for my card visual, I still have like a whitish. I can also just fix that. So I'll come over to card and then background. So the fill color, and then for come over to size. Okay, we already have the background. There are several backgrounds in the card visual. So next we have the call out value. Okay, so for this, the background, we make this dark. So what other background is left for this white? Let's see. Okay, one thing we have to do also for the label, and then for the value, then we just have to figure out where this white background is coming from. Let's see. I think it should be from here. Okay. Yeah, it's from there. Let's see. So we have a line that's okay. Can we turn off the border? Anyways, so I guess we're just gonna have to stick with this for now. Okay, so this is not bad. Now we've been able to build visual reports. Now this is we have one thing left. The text over here. We need to be able to read what's at the bottom. Okay, we need to be able to read that. Very, very important. So people know what your visual is actually talking about, is referring to. So this should be the x-axis. So we'll come over to the x-axis and then we'll make this orange. And then for the title, make this light. That works. And also for the y-axis as well, the values. And then the title. Okay, now we should be good. So with this, you can see how Sarah has been able to build an actual working report. Okay, so this report is what Sarah, in this case you, now presented to your supervisor. This is what you now presented. So you're in the meeting, instead of just saying, this person is not really recovering and that's it. No, you are showing you're showing this using data. So you can go over there, analyze the effect of various drugs and show, okay, this is how this is performing, this is how this is performing, this is what we are getting from Losartan at the moment, and on and on and on. That's how you go about this. Now, after you've done this, you also have to know, because as a data analyst, there are several things that you have to do. There are several other things that you have to learn to become a data analyst. like I said, we are all about implementation. And that's the reason why I have a special gift for you guys at the end of the session. Because the entire vein of the session, the reason why the session was created was for you to be able to take something right now and implement. For you to be able to what? Take something right now and implement. This is not, oh, you learn it now and 5 months later. No, this next week for you to do something like this and for you to already begin having conversations of how you're going to transform your career, from how you can begin having conversations of, oh, you know what, since I have a new skill set, now I can do this. And your supervisor or the organization, wherever you're working, you are now open, you're now being considered for other roles. Say you're working with the NHS, for instance, or you're working with any other organization, say maybe in Canada, any other healthcare organization, that you are now being considered for other open roles that requires these kind of skill sets. Because trust me, when it comes to data roles, when it comes to data analytics, there are so many opportunities. I can almost guarantee that in every one of the organizations you currently work in, that there's either a data analyst or there's a role available for a data analyst. If there's no role available, it's because the organization does not know that they need one. And by you showing something like this, you then become the first person to create a role that now became necessary after seeing what you could do. So you might be wondering, aside from this, what else would it take to be able to what? To be able to build, to be able to become a data analyst? What else do I need to do? What else do I need to be a data analyst? The great thing about data analysis, okay, the great thing about data analysis, give a moment. Okay. Sorry guys, just give me a moment. Trying to Okay, great. So we're good now. So the something that you have to know about data analytics is that there are several that aside from these analysis, there are several other things that you need to also take a look at. And when it comes to data analytics, there are two broad categories. Two broad categories. So you have the data analyst and you have the healthcare data analyst. Now, the data analyst and the healthcare data analyst they're both data analysts, but the difference is that the healthcare data analyst focuses on what? Health related data. For many of you on the call right now, that's the path we are looking at. And the reason for that could be maybe due to sponsorship requirements where okay, you're still working within the healthcare space, we are sure of getting sponsorship, and now you're now working as a data analyst, and so you're a healthcare data analyst. And then you have the data analyst where, okay, you're not just focused on healthcare data alone, you're like focused on every other area. Maybe you're currently working, say maybe in the warehouse, or maybe in the kitchen, maybe restaurant, wherever that's the situation might be. Or maybe you're even working currently, say, as a customer rep in the organization right now. Then you'll be looking at, say, the data analyst. Because as a data analyst, you are going to be focused on other areas, on other business areas, not just healthcare related data. And what do you need to know? What do you need to know as a data analyst? You need to be able to solve problems. Very, very important. As a data analyst, it is not just your duty to build dashboards. That is not what you are about. As a data analyst, you need to be able to solve problems. Problem solving is very, very important. You need to understand, and when I say problem solving, I don't mean the kind of problem solving you know. Because if I probably ask you right now, say, can you solve problems? I'm sure your answer will be yes. No, that's not the kind of problems I'm talking about. But problem solving using the various problem solving frameworks, such as the CRISP framework, the marketing principle, the 5 whys, the root cause analysis, all of that. So you need to know how to solve problems, data related problems. And then you have Excel, where you need to know how to use Excel. Then you have your SQL, your Power BI, your Tableau. You need to know how to tell stories using data. Because just like Sarah has built a dashboard, she's going to present that to a supervisor, right? And she's going to need to tell a story using that dashboard. You're not just going to present it and go to bed. No, as a data analyst, you need to know how to be able to present. That's why the skill of data storytelling is very, very important. So you need to be able to tell stories with your data. So you have ChatGPT for analytics and also Microsoft Fabrics for analytics. All of these things are things that you need to either know as a data analyst or as a healthcare data analyst. And what are you looking at in terms of the pay? In the UK, the median pay, keyword on median. What does median pay? It means that you can definitely earn above this. And then you have some that earn slightly below this, but mostly above this. The median pay in the UK is around £50,000. And then in Canada, around 2,000 Canadian dollars. And in the US, closer to 6 figures. Because, of course, we all know that the US pays more than these other countries. So that's what, these are the various things that you need to know. And how you're going to learn all of this. That's the reason why we're having this kind of session, right? Where we get to show you these things and where you get to learn. And also, when you are part of either the data analytics program or the the healthcare data analytics program, you also get to learn in a structured approach. With your classes being, with you having classes on Saturdays, where you have your morning class and you also have your evening class as well. Your morning session from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. UK time. And of course, for those in North America, your classes being from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Saturdays. And this is also paired with what we call the self-paced watch me doing videos. Because we understand that different people learn in different ways. There are some of you that the way you learn is that you learn by, you want to watch a video, you want to go over that video over and over and over and over again. And there are some of you that, you want someone to tell you, okay, this is how you go about it, this is how you go about it. That's the reason why we use a blended approach. So both approaches come together for you to receive the best out of the program, where you're attending your live classes and you're also watching your videos on the LMS, which of course the videos very, very fantastic, and they're going to enjoy them a whole lot. And the learning timeline is for 8 months. You get to learn for 6 months in class. You have 6 months learning in class. We're taking it slowly, one step at a time, not rushing you. And then you also get to have an internship for 2 months. 2 months internship after your 6 months of learning in class. And from what you've seen today, you can begin to imagine how easy it is to learn each and every one of these tools. I just showed you something you can implement right now at work, starting from Monday, for you to start gearing yourself up for a promotion. And it just took less than an hour, or just a little over an hour. Now imagine how easy it will be to learn these other topics, these other tools that you need to know how to use. And once you learn all of these things, we don't just stop there. There are other things that you are also going to get exclusive access to. Because one thing that we understand at Analytics, like I said, we do make dreams come true. That is what we do. We make dreams come true. And we've made over 4,000 people. We've made their dreams come true. And we can make your dreams come true as well. And in the business of making dreams come true, one thing that we've understood is that it takes more than just the skills for you to be able to transition, for you to be able to, land the job or do all of those things. Hence the reason why you'll be getting other incentives. The first being the fact that once you go ahead to register, and this is just for, this is early access. So in our program, we have what we call the early access. So this is early access for those that will be registering for the cohorts, for the August cohort. So you get early access to priority CV and LinkedIn optimization within 10 working days. What does that mean? Let's say you go ahead to register today. Within the next 10 days, your CV would have been optimized, and your CV would have been revamped, and your LinkedIn would have been optimized within the next 10 days after you've gone ahead to make payments. And this is exclusive access. This is just for early birds. Early birds that get into the program as quickly as they can. And then next, you also have exclusive. This is also exclusive. You will be getting something called the UK Global Talent Visa Session. for many of us, for some of us on the call, you're in North America. For some of us, you're in Europe, right? You're in the UK, but you're currently wondering how can get sponsorship, or maybe you're interested in the GTV route. That's the Global Talent Visa. So we're going to have an exclusive session where we show you how you can go about getting this Global Talent Visa. Well, we are going to bring in experts. Experts will come to the call, people that have accomplished what you'll be looking to accomplish, and they will guide you and mentor you on the things that you need, the way you need to present your projects, the way you need to have your proof of the various things you've accomplished, and how you can get the Global Talent Visa. Of course, we all know that with the Global Talent Visa, it's one of the best visas that you can ever get. So if you are living in the UK, or if you're looking to move to the UK, with the UK Global Talent Visa, you don't need anything like sponsorship. You can do anything you want. You can walk anywhere you want. You don't need sponsorship. So that's something that you'll be getting. This also exclusive as well to those who go ahead to register as quickly as possible. And then we also have immediate access to the weekly mentorship sessions. You go ahead and make payments. We have mentorship sessions weekly, every Thursday by 10 p.m. UK time. These sessions house experts that tell you, people that have accomplished, that have transitioned. When it comes to doing something new, you will agree with me that it's easier for you to do something new when you have someone that has done that new thing to tell you what you need to do and what you shouldn't do. If you are trying to travel, maybe you want to go to a new state, for instance, you would agree with me that you would speak to someone, you would ask questions. You speak to someone that has been there, you speak to someone that has moved, you speak to someone that has made that trip, that will tell you, oh, follow this route, don't follow this route. Oh, that route is not good, that's a roadblock. Go this way. That way, you're going to get to your destination a whole lot faster, 2x, 10x faster. Hence the reason why mentorship is very, very important. When you are speaking with people that understand your pain, that have been where you are at, that have been able to make that transition, telling you, okay, this is how I was able to go about my transition, and this is what you can do too, to also go about your transition. You get immediate access to that as soon as you go ahead to register, as soon as you go ahead to make payment. And then the next thing is the 3-month interview guarantee. This is a commitment to us. We are guaranteeing you that within the first 3 months after getting into the program, once the program starts, 2 months later, we are guaranteeing you an interview. And this is not just clout. There are certain things that we put in place to ensure that that's the case. Of course, remember I talked about the priority CV and LinkedIn optimization. Then we also have what we call job sprints within the session, exclusive job sprints, where jobs are being applied to on the call. And then, of course, there are other things I would also mention for you to see how you are going to get this 3-month interview. It's a guarantee. And you can hold us to that fact that, oh, this is what you guys told me, and this is what I need to do right now. And would always help you out. It's a guarantee, like I said, 2 months interview guarantee once you get into the program. And then next, we have what? We have the founders cycle. With the founder cycle, everyone has like unique approaches. Everyone's career is different. Your experience is different. For some of you, maybe you have experience in, maybe you have experience in medicine, or maybe you have experience in banking, maybe you have experience in HR. Everybody's different. You've worked somewhere before, someone has worked somewhere else. So in the founder cycle, we get to create personalized roadmap for everyone. Oh, right now, you have experience in banking and you're currently working, say, maybe you're working as a support worker, for instance, you're looking to transition. What is the best route for you? What's the best way that you'll be able to move from point A to point B? Or how can you move from point A to point C? That's what the founder cycle is meant to do. And in the founder cycle, you'll be speaking with the founders, with C-suite executives, that's the CEO and founder of Analytics, that's Adeza Suleiman. You'd also have the COO as well, that's Lola Femi on that call. And you also have myself too. So we'll be there to ensure that you are getting a personalized roadmap, because everyone's journey is different. Everyone's experience is different. And in all of this, you'll also be getting lifetime career support. Lifetime career support. Lifetime career support. So even when you're done with the program, you've gotten a job, you've gotten that promotion, and you need assistance, you can always reach out and we would help you. We will guide you. We are not just leaving you. We're not just after or complete the program and that's it. We are holding your hand from point A to point Z. Once you are part of the Analytics family, you are part of the Analytics family forever. I said it here, and the call is recorded. Okay, and the way we know that all of this works is that we've had, we've had lots of testimonials, people that have been able to make the switch. If you go to YouTube right now, you're going to see lots and lots of testimonials from our participants, and I want you to take a listen to one of our participants. That's Ikmat. Now, Ikmat was in a similar situation as many of us are on the call right now. For Ikmat was a stay-at-home mom. She had to leave the workforce to take care of her kids for 2 years without any experience. And she was very, very confused at some point. Okay, now I'm ready to get back into work. What do I do? How do I go about it? How do I even start? Where do I even start from? Okay, that's Ikmat's story. And I'm going to stop speaking here. Instead, I want you to listen to Ikmat, how Ikmat was able to make that switch. Give me a moment. I think I'm not sharing my audio, so you can hear my audio. Okay, so you should be good now.
Wearing many at stakes.
Hi everyone, my name is Ikmat, and I was with the March cohort in Analytics, and joining Hi everyone, my name is Ikmat, and I was with the March cohort in Analytics, and joining Analytics has been the best decision so far. For me, someone coming from a background of full housewife, because I had to stay back home to look after my child for 4 years, and then wanting to break into something new, wanting to go back into the workforce, wanting to place myself in the society for better job opportunities. So it was a lot. And then I'm glad that Analytics came along, and then they presented me with so many opportunities right in front of me, better opportunities. And then I'm glad I took it. And then also the advice of do not sell yourself short, that Effie is always saying, it is very, very valid, because place yourself right, don't sell yourself short. It's a very, very, very valid advice. In Analytics, they will hold your hands like a child, through the modules. You have the opportunity to go back and study. You have the opportunity to go back and practice. You have the opportunity to ask questions. You have people you can always go back to, even outside of class hours. It's the most amazing experience so far, really. And then another thing is the interview prep, guys. That is another very important thing. I did my interview prep with Mr. Mohammed, and it's the best decision ever, because it was like he saw into the future. He knew what was going to be asked. And I'm glad that I wrote down all the things he mentioned. I went back to practice, and then when it was time for the interview, it was like everything he was mentioning, everything he mentioned, it was just, they kept on. And then when I was answering those questions, I was so confident, because I already practiced. I did an Excel test, I did a maths test, and then they were really impressed. And another thing is, guys, it may not come as fast as you expect. Definitely you are going to get some no's, and then you may begin to think you're not good enough. You are good enough, yes. The no's will come, but always take it as a basis for learning and development, because after every interview where I got a no, I always make sure I get a personal feedback. So I work on those feedbacks for my next interviews. And yes, it worked. It really worked for me, because I got my first job 3 months into the program, my first job. But I couldn't take up the job because I was a student, and I was only eligible to work 20 hours. So I couldn't take up the job. 3 months later, I got 2 jobs with full visa sponsorship. And guys, all the other no's before the 2 jobs prepared me for the yeses I got. So yes, the no's will come, but do not give up, because you always have Analytics to go back to. They are the best and the best thing that's ever happened to me. And then yes, and they are the most affordable one I've come across so far. and that's a very good advantage. So yes, analytics for the win.
Okay, so you guys listen to Igmat. Now, there's something Igmat said that I want to resound, that I want you to think back to, and that is, don't sell yourself short. For many of us right now, even as sad as it might be, what we've learned today, you would not implement. You see, this session is going to end, and that's it. You're not going to go back to the recording. You're not going to take a step forward. You're not going to say, okay, you know what? I actually can do this. And that's very, very sad, but it's the truth. But the situation, the reality, what you should be trying to make for yourself, what you should be trying to understand is that you don't want to sell yourself short. If others are selling themselves short, that should not be for you. You should be able to see yourself and say, you know what? This, I can accomplish this. I can make that transition. Listen to Igmat. She was a stay-at-home mom for 4 years, and she got 3 job offers within the space of 6 months. 3 job offers within the space of 6 months. 2 of them came with full visa sponsorship. That is what we do at Analytics. Remember, I made a claim at the start. I said, we make dreams come true. It wasn't clout. It wasn't fallacy. It's actually what we've done in the past. And this is not just me beating our drums, as you've heard from Ikmat and the over 4,000 people that we've assisted. If we had more time, I would have gone through all of these testimonials. But if you do have the time yourself, go head over to YouTube, check out Analytics. You're going to see hundreds and hundreds of testimonials from us, people that have been able to make that switch. And I know that, someday we'll probably also reach out to you to say, oh, you know what? You'll be, can you create a video for us? And you'll be very, very happy to do so. Because as a dad, you would have also been able to achieve your dreams. And this is Ikmat, like I mentioned. So Ikmat stayed at home mom, and we were able to help her transition. And this was when Ikmat was asked for when we got a reference. Because of course, as long as you're a participant or an alumnus with Analytics, you are going to get a reference from us. So this is when we provided a reference on behalf of Ikmat after she had already gotten an offer from the recruiter. And it's not just Igmat, it's not just within the UK, even in the US as well. We've also been able to assist so many individuals. We could have listened to Pavel, but we are running low on time. But Pavel also joined our data analytics program. And for Pavel, his background, he had a background as a teacher in Cameroon, from Cameroon. Like I mentioned, every single one of us right now, we have different situations. We have different experiences. That's the reason why the founder cycle is very, very important for you, because based off your experience, you get to create a path just for you. For Pavel had a background as a teacher from Cameroon, and he joined that data analytics program. And what did we do for Pavel? We tailored the CV to a CV of that of a healthcare data analyst, and he joined all of our mentorship sessions. He got prepped for multiple interviews, and he got multiple job offers. And the way he did this was he applied to multiple jobs and he focused on building a strong portfolio, because that's very, very key for us. As soon as you get into the program, our target is that 1 month into the program, you should already have a live portfolio. So we provide you with guidelines on how to go about that, because you need a portfolio. A portfolio is what's going to serve as your wealth of experience. So Pavel keyed into that, got his portfolio, tailored his application for every job, and he went ahead as in March last year for Pavel. He landed a healthcare data analyst role in the US with the Arizona Community Physicians in the United States. And he got this job less than 3 months after completing the program. Less than 3 months after completing the program. And so many other individuals. You can also listen to Pavel when, you get access to the slides. Now, I remember I mentioned that I have a very big surprise for us. I know I have not mentioned it. I'm going to tell you what it is soon. I have a big gift for you guys. But for right now, you might be wondering, okay, I actually said, when is the next cohort? How are we getting started? I'm really excited. I want to get into this. The next cohort is going to be August 8th, the 8th of August. That's when the next cohort is going to begin. But you don't have to wait for the next quarter to begin, right? You don't forget, you've learned something very, very important right now. Power BI, I've taught you, what I've taught you right now is premium. So go ahead, you need to implement this. I need you to start seeing results in your workplace even before you join the program. So when you join the program, you're not even joining the program as someone that is already working as a data analyst. You've gotten the job as a data analyst, and now you just want to learn more data analysis skills. So you have to be a part of the cohort, which is going to begin August 8th. All of the features I mentioned earlier only applies for the early bird access. Early bird access, I'm referring to the first 1 people that are going to register. That's for the early bird, talking about the priority CV optimization, access to your mentorship session, and every other thing that I mentioned. Now, how do you go about making payments? To make payments, all you have to do, my colleague is going to send a link to the chat box, and all you have to do is just click on that link. The full amount is $1,250 for you to get into the program. That is the amount. But then we are running a discount. Remember, for the first 10 people to register, like I said, early bird, we have the incentives I mentioned, and also the discounts you'll be getting as well. So you get to have a 20% off. You get $250 taking off the amount, and so you get to pay $1,000 instead. And the great thing about this, because some of us might be wondering, oh, I should say, but I can't really pay $1,000 off the bat. Okay, so what do? I really want to be a part of this. I want to get into this. I want to transform my life. I'm already seeing what you've taught me today. I'm already seeing I'm going to use this at work. I'm already seeing I'm going to wow my colleagues next week. Okay, I'm already seeing all of these things. And I want to get into this program, but I don't have $1,000 that I can just pay. So what are you gonna do? Don't worry, we got you. So you can break your payments down into multiple installments, starting with as low as $200. Okay, starting with as low as $200. So you can break your payments into multiple installments where you pay $200 for the next 5 months. So you pay $20 now, $20 next month, and so on and so forth till you complete the payments. So my colleague just sent a link to the chat box. Now I'm going to show you what the payment platform looks like. Once you go ahead and you click on So once you go ahead and you click on that link, it's going to bring you over to this page. Okay, so it brings you over to this page, and over here you can see you can talk to a career coach, have a personal conversation based off your own story. We don't generalize at analytics. We don't assume that Chiso and Olayemi are the same, or that Victor is the same with Adwa. No, we don't. We know that every single person is different. That Deresa is the same as Favor. No. So we always try to see how we can tailor something unique just to you. And that's the reason why you also have the ability to talk to a career coach. You can also talk to a career coach to talk about your experience, where you're currently at, and to receive advice as to the next path for you in order to achieve your dreams. And you can also take a career quiz in there. That's also part of it. And over here, you have all of the different programs that you can go ahead to register for. Let's say I want to be a health tech analyst. So I'm going to come over to health tech analyst, and I'll click on enroll now. By clicking on enroll now, I get to see more information about the course, the program, and then I have the course description. I can read what's about. I can download the brochure over here and all of that, and then I can scroll down and click on enroll now. So I also can I have my instructors that's over here and all of that. So I can click on enroll now. Once I click on enroll now, it's going to verify my browser. Give me a moment. Okay, so it's asking me to sign in. Once you click on enroll now, it's going to ask you to create an account. So you can easily create an account using Google. You can maybe use your full name, or you can just use Google, and it's going to connect directly to your Google account. Easy signing. But if you already have an account like myself, you can simply click on login, and I have my email address and everything in here. And then I'm just going to select login, and I would log in successfully. into the platform. So now I can go ahead to make my payments, right? I have two options. I can either decide to select the August cohort, which is going to begin August 8th, or to go as far as September. Why would I select the September option? Example, you want to ensure you key into all of these things I'm talking about, and the discounts, the incentives, because it's very, very possible by next month that the price might change. Things like happens. Yeah, sure, that's the truth. So you also want to ensure that you key into the discount and you don't miss out. So what can you do? You can go ahead, select September, and make payments. So you make payments, you lock in your discount, you lock in your incentives, and then by September, when it's September, you get to be a part of the program. You have different plans. There are the various plans that you can go for. You have the best value plan, you have the smart choice, and you also have the flexible choice. For the smart choice, the best value plan offers you the most out of your money. So let's say you want to make the full payment. You don't want to break this down into multiple installments. You can go ahead and pay $950. Okay, so you are going to be getting an extra $50 taking off the discounted amount. Remember, the full amount is $1,250. There's a discount currently running where you get to pay $1,000. If you decide, I want to pay this in one installment, I don't want to break this into multiple installments, you get to pay $950 instead. And then, based off that, you are going to be saving $200 in total. And after saving $200 in total, you're getting several things: your priority CV and LinkedIn optimization. You're getting your founder cycle. Okay, you're getting weekly mentorship and immediate access. Okay, you're also getting the exclusive UK Global Talent Visa session, as I mentioned, your 2-month interview guarantee, and also your lifetime career support. And if you decide, you know what, I want to go for the smart choice, I want to break this down into 2 installments. Okay, I want to break this down into 2 installments. Doing that, you get to pay $500 each twice. Okay, you get to pay $500 twice. So you pay the first $500 now, and then you pay the next $500 later on. And by doing this, you also get to save up to $250. And then you have the flexible choice where you can break your payment into 5 installments, paying $200 per month. So this is the flexible choice. If you don't really have the $1,000 and you want to break this down across multiple months, don't worry, we got you as well, because we're very, very much interested in your success and you succeeding. So you can go with a flexible plan, and then you get to pay $200 each for the next couple of months. So once you select that, then you can confirm your information is correct, and then you can go ahead to read the analytics terms and conditions. After doing that, you can click on confirm, and then you can go ahead and select pay now. Okay, you go ahead and you select pay now. So that's how you make payment. Now, I mentioned that I have a surprise for you guys. Okay, I mentioned I have a gift for you guys. Now, this is something that I don't think I've done in a long while. Okay, I've not done this in a long while, but I felt, okay, how best can I assist the individuals that will be joining our session today? And so, in addition to all of this, and this is exclusive. I would not really be able to do this for every single person. Apologies. Okay, there's only so much I can do. Okay, but rather for the people that make payments right here on this call. Okay, if you go ahead and you make payments right here on this call, or at least before the end of today, you are going to be getting an exclusive one-on-one implementation session with me. Now, what do I mention? What do I mean by that? A free one-on-one session where remember what we just learned today, the Power BI session what we just learned today. And I mentioned I want you to implement this going forward in your workplace. So what this session is going to do is that we're going to look at what you are doing at the moment. Where are you working right now? Okay, so are you working? Where are you working? Are you working as a support worker? Where are you working? So we get to figure out all of that, and then we're going to see, do you have data? Have you been collecting data? I know that's going to be the case for some of us. So maybe for some of us, we already have data. At least you have data on your patients, or you have data based on the number of items that go to the warehouse, or the number. We have that data. Or if we don't have that data, if you don't have that data, we get to chart out a plan of how you can get that data. And then we'd also get to create a path. We get to speak on how you can implement what you've learned today next week, so we can put you on the course for the next promotion. I repeat, this is exclusive because I cannot, we have a lot of people on the call, and it would not really be possible for me to speak to every single person. Apologies, I'm only one man. Okay, so it's just going to be right while we're on this call, where once you make payment, you can also send a message to the chat box. So we take note, my colleague on the call will take notice of those, or you can also send a message to any of the admins, any of the communities, and just mention what's that you've made payment and you'd like to book your one-on-one session. So in this session, we get to what? Chart a course for you, so that by next week, okay, by next week, you already have your you already have your plan. You already know that by Tuesday, I'm going to have gotten this data. By Wednesday, I've built my dashboard. And by Thursday, I'm already showing to my employers that I have additional skills in my toolkit. Very, very important that you have additional skills in your toolkit, because that's what would now lay the groundwork. That's what will lay the groundwork to moving you to what? That next level, moving you to that next phase. That's what I'm interested in, making use of what you've learned today. I said something earlier. I said there are lots of people on this call that this is going to be the end of their data analytics journey. This will be the end of your data analytics journey. This will be the end of your Power BI journey. It's sad, but that's the truth. You don't want to be in that category. You do not want to be in that category. You want to look back at this session and say, I'm glad that I took this opportunity. I'm glad that I actually joined this session. I took this opportunity and I can already see the impact it is making for me in my workplace. So I'm going to be taking questions. I believe we have questions. If you have questions, you can go ahead to use the raise hand icon, and I'll call on you